what's up, YouTube? Grizz Piper 1225 here. It's been a minute since I've been on, but a lot of people are asking me about my Comfortmax stove, so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm smoking some Russ's Falling Leaves in my Peterson Dracula pipe. It's kind of an American-English kind of blend. It's not real heavy on the Latakia. And it's perfect for this rainy, crappy fall weather. But yeah, I want to get right to the point on this. A lot of people are asking me about the stove plate that I made to cover the grates, so I'm going to show some of that. And I'm going to show how I start a fire in this stove. Okay, here's the plate I made. It completely covers the bottom grates. And what I did on it... Hopefully I can show that. Okay. So I just made a solid plate, and I cut a square out of the middle, right? Welded a hinge onto it here, just a standard door hinge, and I put a bolt, 2 nuts on it to give me something to pick it up. Then all you got to do, turn your grates a little bit. You can shovel all the ash right down there. Put the grates back. Should have made it out of heavier metal. I see this is starting to warp. So anyway, the way I do this, I use an assortment of wood. This is pretty much what I use here. I use these bigger pieces for on the bottom, then these short ones to go across, and the long ones there to go lengthwise. I use these little things, they're called a lightning nugget, fire starter, and my torch. So let me get this stacked up. I do what's called a top-down fire. I'll get this stacked up and I'll show you what I do. Before you start, well, I'll get to that in a second. Okay, I got the wood stacked in there. Like I was saying, I do this top-down fire. I put those big pieces on the bottom and just kind of stack it, kind of crisscrossed. And then here in the front, I usually try to put one like right over top of where the fire starter is. Well, what I was gonna say before you start this stove, okay, you got to make sure that this is pulled out. This is the bypass damper. And another thing I try to do, see how far open that flap is, because I had it set on 3.5 last night. That is way too much air for this thing. So I usually turn the dial till it's closed, and just come back up like. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. What's that, 1/4 inch or so? Then I take my torch. Put it up in the top to preheat the chimney, get the draft going. Do that for a couple seconds. Also make sure that the air wash and burn tube control is all the way on high. And I don't close this all the way. I might leave like, you know, the width of my finger of the door open. Just until it gets going. So we'll check back in on this one, it's burning. So this is going pretty good now. I did have to stick the torch back in there a little bit, and I opened that back about right where it was. That's one thing about this, is you got to play with this dial. So I have it set up at 3. Maybe I'll turn it down a little. I just know that amount of air, it gets excessive, and this thing just smokes black out the chimney. I mean, my chimney cap's black, but whatever. I haven't even looked to see what the chimney is. Before I switch to coal, I'm going to do that. I'll look to see how creosoted up the chimney is, but I'm not too concerned. So the next thing I do, come out here to this beautiful rain. I use this stuff. It's anti-creosote. I just spray it on all this wood. Just don't get it on anything you don't want it on, because it turns things black. Like, that's why this spot is black. Had to repaint the wall there behind the wood pile because I was spraying the wood pile and it got everything, these little black spots from that stuff. So the porch, I don't really care. I got to repaint. So you can see this is still going pretty good. We'll check back in then when I'm ready to start putting some wood on. Bypass damper's still open. I leave that open until this burns completely down. I want to get that chimney warm. So once it gets burned down, I just take my rake there, and you just want to get a nice bed of coals. And then I'll start putting some wood in. So there we go, that's loaded up. That's gonna burn for a while. And whenever you're tending your stove, make sure you have your official snap-on welding and hearth gloves. But we'll close this up and this will get going in a couple minutes, I'd say. Might have to increase the air on the back. So like I said, it seems like I'm always playing with that. Yep, because it closed again. So there you go, open the air and she's burning already. I try to set that air control around like 3.5. That usually seems to be pretty good. That'll put the stove top here. I'd say around like 500 usually. I still have that bypass open. I leave that open until all the wood gets really going. You can see it's starting to burn in the top there already. Apparently my cat wants to get in the video. You want to be in the video? Yes. Now you're stuck. Somebody says I'm not giving her attention. Doesn't take long to get this going with some dry wood. It just has so much airflow for burning coal, you know. Which, speaking of coal, I'm very ready. It's very nice that this stove is wood capable also, but man, I like tending that coal stove twice a day. Just throw some coal in it, take the ash out, done. You know, you're not fighting around with the wood all the time, but hey, for those of you that want to burn wood in it, it absolutely can be done. It's a pretty decent wood burner, so. I also like to add that, you know, with this flap on the back. See that? I keep that paper clip on there so it holds it open. Otherwise that closes flush. I'm not going to say that it closes completely sealed up, but that does seem to help keep the wood burning, you know, when it calls for less heat. So I'm probably going to close this bypass up here. And just push that in. That's closed. And I leave that front air control, I leave that open all the time until, like, if I want to go to bed, then I'll put it maybe at a half. But otherwise, I leave it open because the way I see it, that's just drawing air into those reburn tubes and into the air wash. So, yeah, it's still putting air in, but it's not the, it's the secondary air. It's not the primary air. You'll start seeing, too, like the glass is black there. That'll clean off. All the bricks inside will clean. Once you close that bypass and this thing kind of settles in, it really burns decent, you know. You can see some of the reburn there. So I'm probably going to pause it here, and we'll come back once this thing settles in. You can see here it slowed down a little bit. Now you can see the reburn there pretty good too. You can see there where that log's close to the side. It's still black there, but it cleaned most of the brick off. Window's a little dirty yet, but that'll bake off. Usually that right side stays a little dirty, but it's usually not that bad. That was just from starting it. So this is pretty settled in. This is how it'll burn for a while. It would burn less if I took that paper clip off the back, but I think this is pretty good. I have the dial set at 3. You can see there's a little slack in the chain, so that flap's closed. And it's doing, like I said, just about 500 on the top. You can feel the heat coming off of this thing. Like if you go right where these holes are, man, it just freaking puts the heat out. It's crazy. The other night I loaded it up. I loaded it almost to the baffles, and holy crap, that was a bad idea. It was so hot. But this isn't like my Yodel stove I had. That thing, I could stuff that thing full of wood and just turn it down and walk away from it. I just worry that this thing's going to smoke. That other Yodel I had was an EPA burner. So that thing put like no smoke out. I don't want to smoke the chimney up too much. But hey, as far as burning wood, it freaking works as a pretty damn good wood stove. So if you guys have any other questions, or if you saw me do something in the video that's wrong, that, you know, it's something you don't do, definitely let me know. I'd be happy to do any more videos or answer any questions I can. And like I've said before, I've told a lot of people I'm very pleased with this stove. So I'm just ready to put some coal in it. But I hope you guys enjoy your Sunday, and I'm going to try to get this video up here shortly. All right, have a great one. Grizz Piper 1225, and I'm getting on out of here. I pray for courage. I pray